What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around the world? I hope you guys are having a great summer so far because as this Georgia heat continues to be a pain to my ball sack, the only thing that is keeping my pubic hair standing straight up is the fact that the Atlanta Hawks have summer league basketball back, and not just summer league basketball back. We are producing wins, and we are having some stand-out performances. Another exclamation point reason to be excited for this upcoming 2025 NBA season. But guys, as always, for episode 36, we are here with my boy John Joyner and my wannabe Chase Jefferson. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing phenomenal.
Hey,
I mean,
man.
I couldn't be more happy with this Hawks play. Got a nice win against the Heat. Even though it's summer league, it's still a win against Miami.
Oh, it still feels nice. And then we almost had a 20-point win against the Phoenix Suns today, boys.
Yeah,
Hey, look.
Which means I'm not surprised considering considering their first rounder didn't play. Come on, Molly watched it.
Yeah.
Didn't play. I'm still not exactly sure why he sat out. The reporters were saying that they played a doubleheader or something like that.
Yeah,
It's because
they played yesterday, and they didn't want them playing back-to-back games. You know, the Hawks play tomorrow as well, so there is a chance that Ace and Newell might not play tomorrow because they might not want to play in back-to-back. But speaking of Ace and Newell, we talked about on this podcast before. Us three even talked about it at the NBA draft party, how, smart our front office was to be able to trade down getting all those draft picks by trading down and then still getting Ace and Newell at the 22nd pick. And we said it right there and there. Ace and Newell is probably going to be a steal. And the way he has played in the summer league, the game gets Phoenix today. He is already showing his athleticism, his versatility, his pace up and down the court. He is transitioning at an extremely pace, and he's getting involved in every single play. And I will talk about it a little more, but I truly believe that this is just a glimpse of the type of player the Atlanta Hawks just drafted. He could develop into so much more, but the early signs we're seeing in just 2 summer league games is showing so much promise and potential.
Chase, you're jumping ahead of schedule here. I want you to slow down your roll a little bit because we've got to dive into every aspect.
Oh, I'm so sorry that I'm excited about Ace of freaking Newell.
We're good.
No. Listen, we all are because everything you said is exactly on point. But yeah, we can't really expect him to be on the starting roster tomorrow because it's the same reason why we didn't get the big matchup that we want to get today. Because why risk injuries? It's the same reason why the Dallas Mavericks has flagged Cooper Flag, no pun intended, out for the rest of the summer league. Because first of all, after a 31 head drop performance that he had in his previous summer league matchup, the Mavericks organization, they've already seen everything they want to see out of Cooper Flag, and it's everything and a little bit more than what they expected. So why would you risk a guy potentially injuring himself in the summer league? Because look, you've got the preseason to give him extra reps anyway, so it's not really necessary. And I know it's a little disappointing because everybody just loves watching Cooper Flag play, but from an organizational standpoint, it does make so much sense. So I do respect the move. But, yeah, we got all this to get into. And, yes, my button up is open today because this Georgia heat has got me feeling steamy
Buddy,
today, boys.
it is a cold 68 degrees in this apartment. I am freezing my nippies off in my room.
Dude, it's all part of the illusion, and now you just ruined it. Chase, not only are you dropping off schedule, you have been a mood killer. So you are one strike away from being kicked off this chat, boy.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I'll behave.
I'm kidding, buddy. I love you. By the way, I also do want to mention before we get into my start bench cut that the MLB draft is on right now, and the Braves were one pick away from getting a naked John Joyner. So if you guys – so the fact that he still has a shirt on, you can blame the Braves organization for that.
I think Joyner should just do it anyway just so the fans know what they were missing.
No, I'm good. I'm good because I swore I'm a dead fish. But every time I have a dead fish, I totally lied about that.
You never had a dead fish.
No, I do not have a dead fish.
You just won yourself.
I don't have a fish at all. I have a dog. That's it. But
you just won yourself a boot off. You just won yourself.
Braves did not take an Arkansas did. So
you just won yourself a boot off the chat, Joyner. Anyways, moving on.
Hey, that's dirty, man.
No, okay, I can't do that to you,
Get
Jordan.
Jordan back in the track.
I can't. Yeah. Anyways,
Dang, bro.
we better get to this garbage cut before we get too out of hand here. So yeah, obviously, Hawk Summer League is in full effect right now. So I figured since we're going to be talking all episode about the Hawk Summer League players, why not keep that same thing going, but discussing the best Hawks Summer League players in the history of Hawks Summer League basketball. Now, obviously, you're like, well, that's got to be obvious because you've got big name guys that you can throw out there like Dominique Wilkins, Spud Webb, but the guys I've got named on these lists aren't necessarily the best Hawks players in franchise history because we're solely basing on their performances in the Summer League. So
their actual career in the Atlanta Hawks don't matter in the Starbridge cut, right? It's just on their Summer League.
Exactly.
Okay.
But
Trae Young will not be on this list.
Actually, that's a lie because I was going to say, contrary to what I just said, while Trae Young is making his case for one of the best players in franchise history for the Atlanta Hawks, he's also making the list for one of the best performers in Hawks Summer League basketball history. Because look, I said I'm going to throw the 3 best performers out here. So that means I've got to throw the 3 best performers out here. And you can't do that without mentioning Trae Young's name. Now, I know what you're saying because he had a very slow start to his Utah Summer League debut, but his game improved significantly in Las Vegas, where he scored over 20 points in 3 consecutive games, and he averaged 8 assists in those games. And he also set the Hawks Summer League record with 11 assists in the game against the New York Knicks, which to me is kind of ironic how his best Summer League game came against the Knicks before that rivalry even kickstarted. So that was a little glimpse of what was to come. And
pick me.
So pick you for what?
I have a question.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know what you were doing that for. I thought you were just doing aerobics back there. But yeah, what you got?
What was his field goal percentage in those 3 straight games, getting 20 points though?
You have to look that up for yourself because on my note sheet right here, I do not have his field goal percentage.
Shameful. Teacher is supposed to have the answers.
Listen, buddy, if you don't like my class, feel free to drop out. Or I can drop you for you. Is that what you were proposing? Okay. All right, Jordan, let me know when you got that field goal percentage up. This screen just got a lot bigger.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chase. What's that? You want to be back in the class? That's what I thought.
Yeah, I do. I'll behave.
Wait, so we're doing the his first game or on a
throughout the entire summer league, and based on somebody's groaning,
it's exactly what I thought.
Pretty rough.
So overall, in his 7 summer league games, he shot 30% from the field and 27% from 3.
His first game, he shot just 23% the field, 12% from 3.
The entire Utah Summer League, he shot 23%, 38% in Las Vegas, and throughout the entire Utah, he shot 12 for 52. He went 3 for 24 from beyond the arc.
Yeah, but listen, and look, I know
I cut him. I don't care who the other 2 players are. I'm announcing right now, Trae Young gets cut.
Hold on now. I know that sounds abysmal because, quite honestly, that is like putting pubic hairs in a chili dog. That is literally outrageously bad. But if you were listening to your teacher's instruction, yes, he was shooting sub 20 or sub 25% in Utah, but his Las Vegas shooting percentage did go up by almost 15%, and he did have 3 consecutive games where he scored 20 points. And one thing, and I know that sounds like
was Wood drafted? Was Wood drafted?
What? Phillies just took Wood.
Oh, the Phillies? Not the Phillies, dude.
Out of any team he could have landed, he went to Philadelphia.
They already have a stacked pitching rotation.
Sorry, we gotta keep this Hawks. Sorry,
No.
sorry guys. I'm just
Valid crash out. Valid crash
I
out.
guess you're gonna have to.
Man, I do not like the Phillies.
You're gonna have to get a Wood Phillies jersey.
Oh,
hell
don't wish
no.
that upon Joyner.
Hell no.
Don't wish that upon
no.
Joyner. Ain't no way. If he ever walks near me with a Phillies Wood jersey, I don't care what kind of Phillies jersey it is. I'm gonna have to kill him. And you know what? It's valid. You can't. I might get life in prison, but I'm not gonna get touched when I drop the soap because they're gonna be like, "Hey, don't touch that guy. He killed a Phillies fan."
Those two teams I hate the most. Those are the two teams I hate the most in the division.
And
The Marlins and the Nationals I don't mind because I feel bad for them because they suck. But
yeah,
I'm so mad right now. Anyways, back to
valid crash out. Valid crash out.
Back to what I was saying. I think before we move on, one thing you've got to remember is in Summer League, you're going to get performances like that. I mean, I know Lonzo Ball didn't pan out to be what everyone thought he was, but even he won the Summer League MVP, and even his field goal shot percentage was under 40% because these are guys that are drafted straight out of college, being thrown in amongst a bunch of other top prospects, and the only thing they want to do is showcase what they can do, and that's going to require you to take a lot of shots and a lot of bad shots, but you've already been drafted, and if you're a high overall pick like Trae Young was, you already know you have a roster spot. So why not go out there and try to see how far you can expand your game? So yes, it looks bad on paper, but it's exactly what you want from a guy you drafted that high. So don't let that deceive you too much. But moving on is another recent Atlanta Hawks player, as recent as last year, actually, as Keaton Wallace had a really strong 2024 Summer League with a 22-point and 7-assist performance in one game, and he nearly averaged a triple-double in the other games with 23 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds. So Keaton Wallace, a guy that we could potentially see get increased minutes during the regular season. I really hope he gets increased minutes because I love Keaton Wallace. And last but not least is going to be a guy that a lot of people forget. And I mean, I know diehard Hawks fans don't forget, but just NBA casuals tend to forget that Lou Williams, before he ended his career in Atlanta, he was drafted by Atlanta. So It was a full circle moment. And in 2007 in Las Vegas Summer League, he averaged 25 points. And you're talking about bad shooting percentage. He averaged 25 points on 48% shooting.
That's more like it.
So how's that for you?
That's more like it.
Yeah.
So those are my three guys right there. Joyner, I'm gonna let you take the floor first here.
Actually, I'm gonna shoot this over to Chase because I still need to cool down from that.
That's fair, man.
You know what, Joyner? I'm gonna do something for you real quick. I'm gonna take you off the screen, and I want you to hold up the middle fingers for us. Okay?
Okay.
I got you. Hey, yo! What was that? Okay, I got you.
This is a children's podcast.
Hey,
not really.
Hey, you know what?
It's 5-4, by the way. The Braves just scored, so it's 5-4.
Wait, I had it on the TV.
I don't know how we scored.
How many picks has gone by since? I need to know if.
Okay. Sorry, I had the games on the Braves game on the TV, but then it turned off for some reason. So I just
Jerickson Profar brought Michael Harris on an error. Is that he actually scored on an error? So we're back in this ball game, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, good. The TV keeps cutting out for some reason. But anyways, yeah. So Joyner or Chase here wants to go first. You'll have the floor.
I guess while Joyner's calling down, I already have my list in my head. And it's going to go, I'm starting Lou Williams, benching Keaton Wallace, I'm cutting Trae Young.
Wow.
And you already spoke the numbers behind it, so I don't really have to give my reasoning.
You know what? I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Chase, I agree with you.
Good man, Joyner.
Okay. Well, since we have a lot to get into, I guess I'll keep it short and sweet. But it's not going to be a threesome in the steamy summer air because I'm actually going to. I'm actually gonna well off camera. I off camera might be different, but on camera.
Remember, this is a children's podcast.
Hey, when you play golf with three people, it's also called threesome. So how do you know I wasn't talking about golf? What are you talking about over there?
Because you're not. Because you're not.
If you want to speak up and say something, but I'm gonna keep it different here. Yes, Lou Williams is going to be my number one guy. I mean, a guy who averages 25 points on near 50% shooting through a 5-game span is going to take the cake for most people. But I'm actually going to put Trae Young at number 2 because though his field goal percentage did hang around 35 once he got to Vegas, you got to remember, he showcased his ability to have high point double-double games with those 3 consecutive 20-point games and averaging 8 assists in those games as well. So we saw a huge glimpse of Trae Young's big playmaking abilities along with being such a lethal scorer. And to me, that pays more dividends than Keaton Wallace because though it is impressive what he did in that summer league last year, it didn't make as big of an impact as Trae Young made, and I think that's mainly because, if you remember, Keaton Wallace didn't play in every single Summer League game last year. I think he only played in 3 of the 5 games. Trae Young played in all 5 once we got to Vegas, including Vegas, and to me, I think those factors just kind of hold his stats to a higher standard, but that's just me personally, not hating on Keaton Wallace. I just think from face value, what Trae Young did just kind of holds a little more weight. But that's my list right there. But now it's time to get into summer league ball. Obviously, this past game that happened earlier today against the Phoenix Suns was not the first game of the summer league because if you date back to Friday, the Hawks took their matchup, like Jordan mentioned earlier, against the Miami Heat for the first ever summer league game. So this was the first glimpse that we got of the Hawks' number 1 overall pick, Asa Newell. But over on the Miami Heat, you had a guy like Kasparis Jakunis, who was a lot of guys had their eyes on. And then guys like Javonte Cook, Pele Larson, Vladimir Golden. I hope I said that right. So the Heat had a strong roster of guys that because of the change in scenery they've had in Miami already could find their way onto the court once the regular season starts. So it wasn't just Asa Newell that everybody was kneeling down and keying their – I don't know why I said kneeling down – kneeing their eyes on. So, this game had a lot of heat, no pun intended, when the Hawks and the Heat faced off. But – the Hawks emerged victorious, winning 105-98, but that was after we trailed by 8 points heading into the third quarter. So it took a hard-fought second-half comeback for the Hawks to pull this one off, which made it even more sweeter. But I'm going to throw it off to either you or Chase to start the analysis on this game. So one of you guys, y'all have the floor.
I guess I'll start. This is our first look at Asa Newell. He didn't play like that well, but obviously, like he wasn't like a number 1. He wasn't like a top 5 guy, so we didn't expect him to play as well.
Right.
We didn't expect him to play like okay. And that's exactly what he did. He shot 3 for 9. 1 for 3 from 3. Had 8 points and 8 rebounds. But we know that he was a great offensive rebounder. For sure, and that's what he did. But the guys that like really like shocked. But one guy that really shocked me was Jacob Toppin scoring 19 points, shooting 7 for 13. But the one guy that I'm not shocked with was Kobe Buffkin going off.
First game since his season-ending injury.
That too. But like also like he's got decent NBA experience, like being the backup point guard behind Trent. He dropped 29 points, shot 6 for 16, 2 for 9 from 3, and basically like led this young Hawks rookie roster to a nice win over the Heat.
I do want to compliment the Atlanta Hawks here because I mean, look, Kobe Buffkin, and we know he had a season-ending injury last season,
Yeah.
but he trained and progressed with his injury very well throughout the offseason, and even during the season, he got the help he needed, the physical training he needed. So there was no resisting and holding him back when it came to
Yeah.
this debut summer league game against the Miami Heat. 26 minutes, and we did not hold him back. We let him play pretty much well, majority of the fourth quarter, especially during that 22-4 run that ultimately led the Hawks to the win against Miami Heat. Kobe Buckton was a huge part of that. And he did, like Jordan said, he scored 29 points. 19 of those points came from the second half, a dominant second half show from Kobe Buffkin. It took a little first half to get a little warmed up, but coming out of halftime, he was firing. He looked fantastic. 15 for 15 from the free throw line. In fact, the Atlanta Hawks shot 87% as a team from the free throw line. And we saw a lot of instances last year where we missed a lot of free throws that we shouldn't have. There were cases in certain games where we lost because we missed a lot of free throws. So already a great sign seeing that this Atlanta Hawks Summer League roster, they're very disciplined and flawless at the free throw line. But in general, I think heading into the episode we did before this one, our last episode, I know if you haven't watched that one yet, go back and watch that one. We did preview this summer league, this roster. I remember one thing that I mentioned that I really want to see out of this team is I want to see our pacing. I want to see how quick we could go from defense to offense transition and see if we can outpace the other team and catch them off guard. And in that game against the Miami Heat, we saw exactly that. Like I mentioned, the Atlanta Hawks went on a 13-0 run at the end of the game, and a lot of that came from quick transition scoring. But more important than that, like I mentioned earlier, Kobe Bucket was a huge part of this. The Atlanta Hawks outscored the Miami Heat 22-4 on fast break opportunities. And this is a Miami Heat team which, if you look at their summer league roster, they have a lot of good pacing and speed as well, and we still managed to outpace them by a large margin. And that came with the help of good defensive transitioning during the possessions, getting 4 stops, and then quickly going on offense. And that allowed us to score 18 extra points against Miami Heat, ultimately leading us to this win. Kobe Bucket, big part of that. So was Toppin, Ace Newell as well. And a lot of good defensive notes as well. We saw Asa Newell had 2 steals. Kobe Buffkin had a steal. And he even had 2 blocks. And that's a little uncharacteristic from Buffkin as well. But to compliment Jordan's point and kind of piggyback off of him, Jacob Toppin, like Jordan said, shot 7 for 13, scoring 19 points, 10 rebounds, and 27 minutes. But he also a plus 21 plus minus score at the end of the game. So we had 21 points generated in total throughout the entire time he's on the court. That's just not coming from scoring. That's just impact involving the rest of the team, playmaking, listening to the play calls, helping defensively. So that just shows that not only is Jacob Toppin a permitted scorer, he is a great team player that transitions to the certain flow of the game, the certain play calling, and that's the type of guy I want to see gel into the Atlanta Hawks roster.
And we're going to be talking about Toppin a lot more, especially in the game he had earlier against the Phoenix Suns, which one-upped what he did against the Miami Heat. But yeah, I mean, everything you guys said was incredible. Now, I do want to say that the Hawks displayed both strengths, like you guys mentioned, but we also did pose a lot of weaknesses because, we started off very strong. We built that early lead, but then we did allow the Heat to go on a 10-0 run, which ended up tying the game heading into the half. And we also struggled with scoring drought late in the third quarter before we even had that strong fourth quarter comeback that sealed the win. And I got to be honest, a lot of that did lie on the shoulders of poor shooting because the Hawks did struggle, especially with perimeter shooting. You look at Asa Newell. First shot he took in Summer League was beyond the arc, and he did make it. But if you want to expand that picture a little wider and look at what the entire roster did, we finished 23% from the three-point range and 42% from the field overall, which 42% from the field isn't that bad. But when you're talking about perimeter shooting, 23% is not what you're looking for.
That's not going to cut it.
No, and the poor shooting was a primary factor in why the game remained so close and why we allowed the Heat to come back after our big surge in the second quarter. But like y'all guys said, it's not all doom and gloom. The young talents did shine in this game. several young of the Hawks players showed a ton of promise. I mean, you guys said it. Kobe Buffkin leading the way with 29 points, including, like you said, Chase, I think it was you or Jordan, I can't remember, 15 for 15 from the free throw line. And Jacob Talkin.
I don't think anyone mentioned that.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry. I thought I heard one guy say it.
What?
I thought Chase said.
You going 15 for 15?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Oh,
okay.
No, you're good.
I swear one of y'all said that. But anyways, and then of course Jacob Toppin, which would be a hot topic in our next matchup, record that double-double with 19 points and 10 rebounds. And then Asa Newell, made the three to start the game. He only finished with 8 points and 8 rebounds. But a guy that I want to mention, and I don't think any of y'all said his name, is Eli Naday, or I think it's just Day. I don't really know how you use that in. That's in his last name.
He was that two-way. He was one of our two-way signees.
Yes, right, yeah. And he had a solid debut. He had 12 points and 6 rebounds. And then Adam Flagler scored a double digits as well. So you had a lot of guys that kind of submerged out of the trenches along with Kobe Buffkin and Jacob Toppin, which kind of sparked my interest as well. And I really hope that we get to see that progress throughout the remainder of the Summer League. But another thing that I want to say about this Hawks team, because y'all talked about a lot of the positives, so I kind of want to narrow it down with the miscues as well, is that we did exhibit a lot of defensive struggles at times throughout this game. We gave the Heat easy scoring opportunities. We allowed them to be in the bonus for free throws for much of the game, which means that we weren't right or we weren't efficient with the way we were using our hands. We were giving them what they wanted in the paint by them drawing a lot of fouls. And Nikola Drstick, despite showing a lot of offensive potential, he struggled severely with fouls because he accumulated 8 fouls in this game. And you're like, 8 fouls? How is that possible? Well, for those who don't know, you don't get fouled out until you reach 10 in the Summer League. So you can have up to 10 fouls, and he had 8 of those, that's
crazy.
Which is a big concern, because one thing the Hawks are really trying to hone in on this Summer League, it's been a constant problem for the Hawks in the last 3 years, and that's interior defense. We want guys who are able to stand strong in the paint and hold off high agility guards who try to bounce their way throughout the paint, like they did with Clint Capella, because we saw that become a huge factor, especially in that play-in tournament game against the Orlando Magic. You had guys like, I know Pablo Banchero is not your average is not your average top of the key kind of guy, but he did have his leeway against guys like Clint Capella and Yeke Okongwu. And then even in those little those insignificant matchups against the Charlotte Hornets, you had guys like LaMelo Ball, despite his lack of size in terms of weight, bully Clint Capella in the paint, mainly because of his agility. So there's going to be a lot of agility that the Hawks are going to have to face, and we need guys who are going to be able to hone off those and stay within him when they're in their post moves or whenever they're trying to bounce off the corner and take a drive from the baseline. We got to have guys that aren't going to foul them to hold them off the rim, but instead get off the post, bounce around the screens, and be able to contest a shot that way. And that's just something we didn't see in that Summer League game. So if you're going to ask for my personal takeaways, the Hawks winning here, it demonstrated their potential, but to me, it highlighted more areas for improvement, particularly when it comes to our consistency and our shooting, which isn't a bad thing because we did get the win, and you're always going to want to find something to make improvements on in these Summer League games because that's what the freaking Summer League is for. But the young players, they showcase their abilities well. Buffkin, Toppin, Newell, they're standing out for the Hawks. And and the Summer League is going to continue to provide those valuable opportunities for these players to develop their skills and make their case why they should be on the roster. So if anything, those little miscues need to be motivators to improve your game even more because the Summer League – That's why it's more than just 3 games. They try to give you a wider margin for that error. But I do want to ask you guys this before we move on to our next game. Okay. Because it's not just the Atlanta Hawks that were making good young showcase talent. The Miami Heat, Jess Kunis had a strong start. Of course, he was the Heat's first-round pick, but he scored 19 points in the first half.
Now, he did cool off because he only scored 5 points in the second half. But then you had other guys like Javonte Cook, who had 18 points and 6 rebounds for the Heat. And then Larson scored 16. Golden and Bear contributed for double-digit scoring. So I was going to ask you guys this. Obviously, the Heat being in the Southeastern Conference, is there any names to y'all that stood out that you think could cause issues for the Hawks down the road in those matchups in the regular season? Because to me, I'm looking at Kasper Jakunis to make a strong case for Rookie of the Year because of how he's able to score inside. And that scares me because, like I mentioned before, the Hawks struggle on interior defense.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Andrew. I think Kasper Jukukit, I've been calling Kasparis because that's how I pronounce it. I'm just going to call him Kasparis. Yeah, like you said, he finished with 24 points, shot 7 for 12, 5 for 9 from deep, but 19 of those 24 points came in the first half. So the Atlanta Hawks did do a very good job transitioning, coming out of halftime and figuring out how to defend him very well. Especially take him out of the perimeter because he shot, like I said, 5 for 9 from deep. So we got to kind of force him a little more inside. Still, because he's very efficient inside as well, but not nearly as much in the second half. So I do want to credit the Hawks defensively at figuring that out and understanding how to limit him in the second half, but definitely dominated us in the first half. So I think in general, that was a really good first showing from him for the end of the Miami Heat side. I think he's a guy that we could, because like I said, first round pick for the Miami Heat, a guy definitely to keep your eye on because he might cause trouble in the Southeast Conference, maybe this year, but definitely later on potentially.
What do you think, Jordan?
No, I think y'all covered it perfectly. I definitely agree that Kasparis is going to be a threat for the Hawks. Especially with him on the Heat and all that. I agree. I think he is going to be the threat, but also Khalil Ware, also the center who will probably be backing up, or not, who will be backing up Bam Adebayo. Mm-hmm. Keep an eye on him too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's going to be a scary duo in the paint for the Heat this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess moving on into our next matchup, which happened earlier today, where the Atlanta Hawks defeated the Phoenix Suns 98-80 in our second summer league game. Now, obviously, when you look at the Phoenix Suns, it's not as, I guess, threatening as the Miami Heat were, because we knew coming in that the Miami Heat had one of the more promising summer league rosters, which is why that was a big back and forth game. It came down to a wild finish. It's everything that we thought would happen. But, I mean, it's not like the Suns don't have anybody showcase. They have Oso and Gadaro. They have Kobe Brea, Yuri Collins, and they all had fairly good performances in this game. But I'm going to start off with you, Joyner. What is your takeaway for the Hawks' near 20-point win against the Suns?
Yeah, so it's like obviously like Ixino had a slow start in that first game, but this game he went kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Before we get into his stat line, there is Ixino had made more threes today than in a game he played in college. He made 4 threes today.
Nice.
4
wow.
threes. And that's more threes than he ever made than any game he played at Georgia.
And what that shows you that he's expanding his game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Asa finished with 18 points and 11 rebounds. That's his first double-double. So that's pretty awesome being a rookie as well. Yeah. But yeah, Kobe Buffkin didn't have a really good game. He shot 3 for 17, 0 for 5 from 3. Finished with 10 points though. 9 assists. Who was dishing the ball out a lot. But Jacob Toppin finished with 15. Nikola Jurisic, however you pronounce his last name, did pretty well for himself too. Shot 5-7, shot 5-7 from the field, 1 for 1 from 3. Finished with 16. And then someone else that went kind of crazy too was Jake Stevens, the guy who started at center today, shot 2 for 2 from the field and 2 for 2 from 3. Finished with 7 points. So I thought that was pretty cool. They was shooting pretty crazy too.
Absolutely.
And then Kobe Johnson, the brother of Jalen Johnson.
Yep.
I was showing it on defense too. Had a nice steal and fast break. Dunk to show some shades of his to show some shade of his brother. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
UCLA
We got a
product.
glimpse. We got a glimpse of Jalen Johnson on that fast way dunk.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, for sure. That doesn't fall far from the tree.
Nope.
UCLA product too. Out west, we saw him perform in the last year's March Madness. So great to see him already put on some great performance and highlights here in the summer league. This was a crazy one for the Hawks. I mean, we got up to an early lead. We were up 30-17 at the end of the first quarter, and the Suns did make it a little close. I think halfway through the third quarter, they brought it to a 6-point game. But then the fourth quarter, the Hawks just locked down defensively. We held them to 14 points in the fourth quarter, and the Hawks had a great offensive showing in the fourth quarter, which, like y'all said, led to almost a 20-point victory. But also, like you said, AJ, despite he's a key player the Suns are watching here in the summer league, and the Hawks played against him fantastically in terms of defensive shutting him down, forcing 5 turnovers, which he's never been a turnover guy. Even look at all his pre-NBA numbers. Never been a turnover guy, so very uncharacteristic. But good for the Hawks. They're able to force a guy like Oso to play uncomfortable and out of his game, out of his character, and force him to get 5 turnovers. And the Suns, like I mentioned, scored 14 points in the fourth quarter. And Oso shot a lot in the fourth quarter, but was ice cold, could not get any shots to fall. So that was a huge contributor for the Atlanta Hawks. But we previewed the previous game against the Miami Heat and mentioned that we shot 23% from deep. Huge improvement here today against the Phoenix Suns, shooting 43% from 3. We still shot pretty well from the free throw line, 71%. But one of my biggest things is our big men went to work in terms of rebounding, out-rebounding them by 12. 46-34. We talked about it all last season and heading into this offseason. The Atlanta Hawks have got to find a way to up their game in terms of rebounding numbers. Of course, we don't have Clint Capella anymore, so we're left with Nneka Kongru, Kristaps Porzingis, but we need some players behind them supporting them off the bench. So seeing our big men here in the summer league out rebounding a team like the Phoenix Suns in the summer league. I don't really know what our rebounding numbers were against the Miami Heat, but I mean today, I'm interested to see how they look tomorrow. But huge sign that rebound looks like to be a key part of the summer league roster. So that's a lot of positive notes that Hawks fans watching last year especially should really, really be excited about. Also, throwing in the factor that we've had a huge offseason in terms of big men, getting rid of Clint Capella, which was needed, and getting Kristaps Porzingis, and now seeing our big men go to work here in the summer league. But Joyner, you got your hand raised. What you got for us?
We had 48 rebounds against the Miami Heat.
What was their rebound?
48. What was their rebounding?
32.
Hey, 16. See, look 16. At that. That's incredible. That's incredible out-rebounding numbers. That's something all Hawks fans should really get excited about.
I wonder how much of those were offensive too, because I
can hold on 1 second. Sorry,
yeah.
Our game today rebounds.
Joiner's our statistic guy.
We had 20 offensive rebounds.
20 offensive rebounds
and 20 offensive and 28 defensive, and the Heat had 7 offensive rebounds.
So take a look at that.
Goodness.
25 defensive rebounds.
That's a 13 rebound margin in terms of offensive rebound difference there. And that caters to the amount of second chance opportunities that the Hawks probably had in that game, which again is something the Hawks really needed in the regular season, because we had the scoring abilities. We had the guys to stand on the perimeter and do catch and shoots. We can draw off screens. But if we're not getting offensive rebounds to create those open spaces, because that's what offensive rebounding does for you, that takes away a lot from potential stretches, especially late in games. Late game scenarios is especially when the Hawks need those offensive rebounds to come
Absolutely.
through. But yeah, go ahead, Jordan. You're good.
So for today's game, we had 46 rebounds total to 34 total rebounds for the Suns. We had 10 offensive rebounds, 36 defensive. The Suns had 9 offensive and 25 defensive.
So still boxing out very well, keeping the numbers low for the opposing team, which again is again just catering to the Hawks' dominant interior play on both sides of the court, not just offensively, but like you said, Joyner, defensively, but especially when it comes to those offensive rebounds. And that's just because it poises to the strength that the Hawks are trying to create inside the paint. Because we outscored the Suns 40-26, and like you said, this is all in the one half, by the way. And then you mentioned the rebounding, grabbing 46 total reboundings to Phoenix's 34. Is that what you said?
Yeah, 46-34. Yeah.
Okay, and that led to the four. And I had this number with me because I was going to use it to my point. That led to 14 second chance points for Atlanta. So you see that window right there. I know we won by nearly 20, so taking away 14 points is not going to put too much of a dent. But in a close game like we had with the Miami Heat, that paves the way to a close game victory. And the Suns, they only had 4 second chance points, I believe. So, and that's because of their minimal offensive rebounding. And the Hawks, to me, something that I really liked in this game is just the balanced scoring that we demonstrated, because we had 5 Hawks players score double figures, and that was highlighted by strong performances like Joyner mentioned. Asa Newell had a really good game. He delivered that double-double with 18 points and 11 rebounds, which most of that came in the second half. And then Jacob Toppin, contributed 15 points. He had 8 of those rebounds. Nikola Drusic racked up 16 points. I think he only had 2 rebounds, but he had 4 assists. And then I think one of y'all guys mentioned he had that steal and that block. And, of course, that was probably one of Osa's many turnovers as well.
Yeah.
And another thing that really impressed me is because this game really got out of hand late in the second quarter, but the Hawks still continued to have a strong finish. We didn't let our guards down, because after the Suns came out of the second half, they trimmed the deficit to 6 points in the third quarter. But the Hawks were able to reassert their control and come out with a dominant 26-14 fourth quarter, which limited Phoenix to just 14 points in that final frame. And then again, you look at the defensive upside that the Hawks show, because like you said, Chase, we not only did we force Oso to those turnovers, he contributed to 17 turnovers that the Suns had in this game, and that leads to easy scoring opportunities, including wide open dunks that we saw with Jalen Johnson's brother, and then transition 3-point shots that we have off fast breaks. And so I think if you're looking like at the Phoenix Suns, for example, I mean, the Hawks really just took advantage of a lot of their missed opportunities and that poor rebounding, because the Suns, interesting enough, they did win the fast break battle. They had us beat 22-10 on fast break points, but they were hampered by those 17 turnovers and that huge significant gap in those rebounding numbers. And I mean, the Hawks had early momentum. We had late game momentum. Like, it's just like this. The Suns were never able to find that wavelength. And I mean, they had like Osa. You can talk about his turnovers, but he still had 18 points and 9 rebounds, and he also had 3 steals for himself and 2 blocks. So he showcased that he is a good playmaker despite the turnovers, and he's a good attacker at the rim. And then that other guy that I mentioned, Kobe Brea, he added 15 points, and he also had a steal. So he, displayed a lot of versatile offense that the Suns really need. But then again, the wrap of this game, the Hawks, they were able to get that comfortable victory over the Phoenix Suns. We demonstrated that interior defense, which to me is the best takeaway in this entire game, because that's – aside from the rebounding, we didn't really see strong interior defense in that game against the Miami Heat. But, I mean, we had balanced scoring. Like you said, Chase, we had that defensive pressure on Osa, which led to those turnovers. And it was good. It was just a good game that I was very impressed by. I knew we had the upper hand, but I wasn't expecting us to win by a near 20-point margin.
And I thought one more about Asa Newell. And I know it's a summer league. I know the main point of these players playing the summer leagues, they want to showcase themselves for the NBA roster. But Asa Newell, like we mentioned, 18 points, 11 rebounds, 7 for 9 for shooting, 4 for 5 from 3. But a majority of his points and his strongest performance was in the second half. And that was even when the Hawks started to pull away in the fourth quarter. So I like to see Asa Newell's already that type of player that likes to keep his foot on the gas. And no matter the scenario, he's going to give his all and he's going to act like the score is 0-0. That's
Yeah.
something we see from a lot of young players that kind of dwindles as their career goes on. So I would love to see Asa Newell continue that kind of mindset in the NBA, but keep that throughout his whole career because that's a special attribute to have.
Joyner, do you have any closing remarks on this game?
Well, I mean, not really, but I do have a question for y'all. So what? Like, so speaking of summer league, I know we talked about like earlier with your Starbridge cut. I know we talked about the guys. I know that we mentioned like guys that like broke out and like in the summer league. He was one guy of the Hawks, obviously. That they all I think guys not hold on. So guys not named Asa Newell or Kobe Buffkin. Guys who guys not named Asa Newell or Kobe Buffkin, who you all think will continue to have a good summer league and potentially fight for a Hawks a 12-man roster spot.
If you ask me, I think it's Jacob Toppin because we saw a double-double performance from him. And like I said, a 21 positive plus minus is insane. And that was against the Miami Heat. And the coming here against the Suns, 15 points, 8 rebounds, still two. So he's already a great inside scorer, but he's showing great defensive terms as well. He has great length, a good wingspan. When he's guarding shifty players on defense, he has a good job of staying in front of them, keeping him at an angle, keeping him to his side, and not have an advantage at the basket. And I think with that good defensive pacing and that versatility, I think that's something that's going to help propel him the rest of the summer league. And he kind of has the attributes and the factors that he can sustain this type of performance. I don't think this is a streaky guy. I think this is a guy that's going to be reliable and consistent. Like one of those players that, if developed right, the Hawks can always know what kind of performance they're going to get out of him. And I think I know it's just 2 games, a small sample size, but I think it's a very positive sample size and just a little smidge of what the Hawks can get out of Jacob Toppin, again, if he can continue to develop right, which I have all faith in the world that our Hawks front office will be able to develop him the right way. So I think he could be a guy that could sneak into the Hawks roster. And if you ask me, a guy that could play a bigger impact for the team than we might think.
Yeah, I'm looking. That's a good pick. I don't want to take your pick, but he's probably my most promised Hawks prospect. But I'm gonna take a look at Eli Day. I don't know if it's Naday or Day. I don't know I don't know how to use that N in his last name. But I'm just gonna say Eli Day because he is a promising young player who just recently signed that 2-way contract with the Atlanta Hawks, and which is why he was able to buy a spot in this summer league roster. But what I really like about him is, he's a 6'8" guy, but he stands with that 7'1" wingspan, and that caters to his ability to have good agility, and especially for his size. He's very quick for that large wingspan that he has, and he's got solid athleticism. He plays. I guess he didn't really have too much of an impact in the Suns game. It was more the Miami Heat game where we got a bigger sample size of what he can do. But he plays a good flow of the game, I guess is the best way to describe it, because he scores around the rim, which to his size, why wouldn't you? But he's good in transition, which is something that I wasn't really expecting. And because he's able to use his size for good post ups. He's developing a good jump shot. That's another thing that he's going to be working on in the summer league, because that's something he wants to add to his game. But his range has exponentially extended since what he did overseas, which is where we got him. And because he can knock down corner 3 shots and jumpers from the elbow, and it kind of resembles of Onyeka Okongwu's development. Because remember, when he first entered the league, his perimeter shooting was not a big part of his game, but especially last season, he really made that corner 3-point shot a really outspoken aspect of his game, and that's something I expect from Eli as well. Now, obviously, he's not perfect. He needs to continue developing his passing, because he's probably just your average guy. And I know you're like, well, why does a big man need to know how to pass? Take a look at Nikola Jokic, because when he gets the ball in a post situation and he's not able to take advantage of the guy that's on his back, you need a guy who's going to be able to have the ability to find a quick kick-out option or create space for himself, which leads to open gaps for his teammates. So that's something that he needs to work on. He doesn't really have the best offensive instincts, and he's not the best shot contester either, which is kind of ironic because he has such a large wingspan. And he's not the biggest in size, so he's easy to get bodied by opposing bigs. And that all caters to his lateral quickness because I mean, you can think of a lot of other big men in the league who aren't like Victor Wembanyama. His size is not particularly striking, but because he's got a big lateral quickness, he's able to combat his ability to get bodied in the paint, which by blocking the shot or putting a heavy contest on it because he has that big wingspan and that big lateral quickness. So that's something that I think he needs to fix because it's not really ideal for an NBA center what he's got right now. But I mean, it's not terrible because he's a two-way player, which means he's expected to spend the majority of his time with the G League affiliates, the College Park.
Yeah,
College
Park
Skyhawks. So that's going to help him further develop his skills. But if he continues to develop his shooting and his strength, he could potentially be a valuable role player in the NBA for years to come. So I will say, maybe not in the upcoming years, but 2 to 3 years down the road, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him get at least a little bit of minutes with the Atlanta Hawks. So
sure, yeah.
Yeah, that's my take on it. But I guess if y'all want to, we can go ahead and kind of take a look at our next game against the Houston Rockets. Yeah. Now, the Houston Rockets are the opposite of what the Hawks are doing right now. They're struggling in terms of their play. They're 0-2 going into this matchup. I mean, obviously, you've got guys like the Atlanta Hawks. Kobe Buffkin, he's going to be to build off his strong start. He's going to be the main general floor guy since it's more than likely Asa Newell's not going to be on the floor. And it gets a guy like Nikola Drustic a chance to cater to his playmaking skills because, I mean, we talked about it. That first game against the Heat, he was a foul machine. He came up with 8 of those. He was a little bit ineffective in that Suns game. So this will be with Asa off the court. This kind of gives him a bigger role against the Houston Rockets. And, I mean, then again, like, what's that?
Sorry, I'm not trying to be distracting over here. I just Braves had runners. It was 5-4.
I just saw it, yeah.
Dude, first and second, no outs. Like, come on.
That was
ridiculous.
Sorry.
If y'all notice why I kept looking at my computer, I had the Braves right here and just good night, dude.
I saw your reaction, so I looked up at the TV screen and I just saw exactly what you just saw. But yeah, going back to the Rockets, I mean, they've got some players to keep an eye on. You've got Reed Shepherd, who is that second-year guard who got on the Summer League roster. And, I mean, obviously a lot of coaches will rave about his ball handling skills. Then you got other returning players like Nefle Dante, you got Jermaine Samuels Jr., you got Nate Williams, who are going to be fighting for roster spots. Cameron Matthews, who, funny enough, was an undrafted rookie, has showcased a lot of strong defensive capabilities for the Rockets. So he's a guy that's kind of emerged out of nowhere. So – so I mean, it's going to be an interesting matchup. The Hawks, obviously playing a lot better than the struggling Rockets because they're kind of trying to find their footing right now. But obviously, I think the biggest thing for this game, if you're an NBA fan just looking for a fun game to watch, is it's going to be a fun battle between Kobe Buffkin and Reed Shepherd because those are two guys who have similar play styles, and they're going to be guarding each other in this game because they both play the same position. So I guess what are some things you guys are excited to see in this game?
Well, like you said, Reed Shepherd, I think one of the biggest things or takeaways from the Rockets' Summer League performance this year is they've been great in the fourth quarter. We saw Reed Shepherd in the fourth quarter in that first game against the Clippers. He went on a 9-0 run by himself. Now the Rockets, of course, end up narrowly losing that game. But then another guy who scores a lot late, like Kenny Chandler in the first game, he finished with 22 points, but 13 of those points came in the fourth quarter, and he actually missed the game-tying free throw in the final seconds. I would have tied the game. that secured the win for the Clippers. So I think this is a team. The Atlanta Hawks has kind of been that team that prevailed in the second half, like against the Heat and the Suns today. We played
Yeah.
fantastic in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter, and especially in the fourth quarter defensively. So I'm very interested to see how the Hawks look against a team like the Rockets, who usually take off, no pun intended, in the fourth quarter offensively. I want to see how the Hawks, who've been playing great defensively in the fourth quarter, will combat that. So I think that'll be an interesting kind of keynote to or a key nugget to look out for in this game against the Rockets. What do you think, John?
I mean, I think you like hit the nail on the coffin perfectly. I just want to like preview our last game that we had that we're gonna be covering next Sunday against the Grizzlies again. Solid roster. I don't know. If for some reason like the ESPN app isn't showing their actual roster, so I had to their actual page.
That's weird.
Well,
Yeah,
why you're sorry,
it's not
guys.
showing the depth chart on the ESPN app. So,
But while you're doing that, Joyner, and while you're talking about the Grizzlies, how about Cole Anthony buying out of this contract and going to the Milwaukee Bucks? That is huge for Milwaukee, especially since they're going to be without Damian Lillard. Or, well, they're already out with Damian Lillard, but missing Damian Lillard now that he's gone. What a quick turnaround for them in terms of point guards. I think Cole Anthony, even though he's coming off the bench in Orlando, is a very prolific point guard that I think now that he's could be in a starting role in Milwaukee could do some really big things.
yeah, no,
I know that was a little off topic. Well, it was concerning the Grizzlies. I just thought that was a pretty interesting thing that happened in the NBA today.
Yeah, I mean, the Bucks, just to make a quick comment on that, I mean, they're in need of a point guard. So, I mean, Anthony, he's going to provide the backcourt depth that the Bucks need off the bench because he's not going to get the starting spot. I mean,
He could.
I don't know. I don't know who the Bucks backup is, but I can only imagine that they're going to want to use him for more bench depth. Because look, here's my thing about him. He has a rich history of contributing better in reserve roles with the Magic. Because if you look at his stats in the last 3 seasons, he does more off the bench than he does with the starting role. Because he's had to take up for some of the Magic's unforeseen injuries that they had this past season, and the numbers just weren't the same. But coming off the bench, he averages 11 points and 3 assists, and that's pretty much where he caps out at. So he's more than likely going to be part of that backcourt, which another reason why I think he's going to be part of the bench and not the starting spot is because if you remember, who else is on the bench for the Milwaukee Bucks? It's Gary Harris, and Gary Harris was his former teammate in Orlando. So why not just stick him with a guy he already has chemistry with?
I don't know. I guess mainly because I just don't know who else.
I don't know either.
I'm just really pulling out starting point guard. I hear what you're saying.
I'm just not that high on Cole Anthony.
Yeah, no, Bucks are in a weird situation.
But what were you gonna say, Junior? I know you were saying something about the Grizzlies. Do you have that roster pulled up?
Yeah, I do. I did. Hold up. I mean, see, like one guy that I'll say they sell Gigi Jackson, who is pretty soft for them. They also got Baycott, the former center from UNC.
Oh yeah, I forgot they had that guy.
And then nothing really else. Nothing really else like saying that to me. Maybe a Javon Small, the guy that they got from and also Jalen Wells, who finished Wells, who finished third, I believe, in Rookie of the Year. They got him as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, that's gonna be a fun matchup. Him versus Kobe Buffkin.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, also like part of me believes that we're not really gonna be playing Kobe too much. Because we've already like played him like twice, and he's already got like an established spot on the roster. So I don't think that we should play him. I just considering like he's already proved we can do like dropping 29 points, 15 for 15 on the free throw line. I mean, so I wouldn't be surprised also like if he didn't play him and we just continue to play like our younger guys to
Right.
so.
So I do
that's
want
my
to.
thoughts.
Oh, go, Chase.
I was say I want to make a quick note on Bacon. I know me and Angie as Florida State fans witnessed him a lot in North Carolina.
Yep.
He's averaging or in the game against Portland, he did have a 14-point 12 rebound double, and he's been averaging 14 points and 6 rebounds throughout the summer league, shooting 53%. So he's been a huge player for the Grizzlies, and Cam Spencer as well. He had 17 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists in that game against Portland, and he's averaging 15 points a game. So he's been a great shooter as well. So I think Bacon and Spencer are 2 players to really keep an eye on in that game against the Grizzlies.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's going to be the one that rounds off the Hawks Summer League. So far, assuming that we advance to the next round, which I'm sure we will. I mean, I'm hoping we
could get early Hawks postseason basketball.
I was about to say because I'm hoping we can jump
championship.
We can jump on the Rockets, who are 0-2 right now. That should be a feasible win. What are the Grizzlies' record?
1-1 right now.
Okay, so look, there's a legitimate chance that the Hawks go 4-0. And Chase, I like what you said about getting an early preview of Hawks postseason basketball because I want to round out this episode by throwing out a comment that Dyson Daniels made during the broadcast. Of the Hawks Summer League game, and obviously us Hawks fans. And now he might have been saying this just because he plays for the Hawks, but I don't think that's not. I was saying I don't think that's the case at all. I think he genuinely believes what he says. But a lot of critics say that Dyson Daniels is jumping the gun too early on this comment, which I don't think is the case at all. But I'll just tell you what he said, and then I'll let you guys have a word with it. So the Atlanta Hawks guard, Dyson Daniels, of course, made a lot of headlines with what he said in a comment he made on the broadcast because obviously like Trae Young was in attendance for the Suns game. Dyson Daniels was there for the Heat game. So a reporter went up to him and they asked him, the Hawks had all these off-season additions and, do you see yourself as contenders in the Eastern Conference? And Dyson Daniels just went out and said, the strength of the Eastern Conference right now because of Damian Lillard's injury, Tyrese Halliburton, Jason Tatum, and the Hawks undoubtedly have the factors to make a big run in the Eastern Conference. And look, the game was made, the statement was made in the middle of the game. They just walked up to him, and Dyson Daniels was like, listen, he sat there and praised what the front office was able to do with acquiring guys like Kristaps Porzingis, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Luke Kennard, and those additions like Dyson Daniels threw out there is going to significantly boost what the Hawks have in terms of their chances for contending to a title. And we could be kind of what he was alluding to next season's Indiana Pacers, which to me, the way the Eastern Conference door is just kind of swung open, I am all in. I'm bought into what he said.
I'm going to take it a step further. I think the Hawks are going to complete the 3 championship trifecta. Summer League championship, NBA in-season tournament championship, NBA championship.
Okay, now that happens next season. We gotta do an episode. All of us have to do an episode completely nude. That's it. Dude,
I think all of next. If that happens, I think every episode that next off season needs to be nude. I think it needs to be I think we need to be in the same room. It's just one camera and 3 naked men in one camera. Talking Hawks basketball.
Dude, I don't care what it takes. I don't care what it takes. I will make it happen if we complete the trifecta. That would be freaking incredible.
So, speaking of that, so realistically speaking, what do you think is our ceiling and our realistically, what do you think our ceiling is, and what do you think our floor is for
realistically?
Yeah.
Oh, realistically, I think ceiling we could easily be a 50-win team. I think floor. I don't think with this roster we get any less than 40 wins. I know that'd still be like a 40-42 record, but I think that'd be the worst. And that's good enough for at least a playing spot. But I think realistically, this team can get 55, 56 wins.
Yeah, I think the Hawks, I mean, honestly, us fans, rightfully so, geared up for an exciting and hopefully successful season. I think the realistic ceiling, if you're asking me, is definitely going to be significantly higher than what we did this past season with the potential that we have in the Eastern Conference. If you're going to ask me, I mean, I think what Dustin Daniels said, and I think I'm being completely feasible by saying this. I think the Eastern Conference Finals is probably at the minimum going to be like, because I think it's not fair to say the Eastern Conference Finals is going to be a floor because you don't really know how the season's going to pan out. But I think it's like, I guess what I'm trying to put into words is the Hawks need to look at the season like Eastern Conference Finals or bust, because this is the best roster that we've built around Trae Young, and this is the most wide open the Eastern Conference has ever been. This is the Hawks Eastern Conference to take. This is our chance. So, realistically, there should be no reason we don't make the Eastern Conference Finals. And I say that wholeheartedly. I'm not saying that as a biased Hawks fans, because not only do we take a look at the big acquisitions offensively, we just improved significantly defensively. I mean, Dyson Daniels and Nikhil Alexander-Walker, that is going to be an insane perimeter defensive duo right there. And, I mean, we have – and – I mean, I know you take a look like – I know a lot of Hawks fans on social media has already said, oh, well, imagine if the Hawks never trade DeAndre Hunter. The Yeke Kongwu and DeAndre Hunter could have been the best interior defender duo in the Eastern Conference. But listen, just listen here. We still have Yeke Kongwu. And it's kind of – I mean, I know Hawks fans are still mad about the whole DeAndre Hunter thing, but it's not like the Hawks don't have that, like, with – I don't know. I don't know if it's kind of crazy to say this or not. Zachary Richausset, to me, is a guy that I see doing what Dyson Daniels would have done in that spot anyways. You know what I'm saying? Well, I think they play similar enough to where it's like Zachary is like the second coming of what DeAndre Hunter was going to be with the Atlanta Hawks. So to me, it's like we didn't necessarily lose that kind of impact because I think we're just gearing up Zachary to be that kind of player. And I think he could fill in those shoes as early as next season. So that's another reason why I think our ceiling is so high.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I'm just going to come out and say I think we can finish as a top 3 seed. I think we finished as a top 3 seed. But four, I'm saying play in, just because injuries do happen. Like Jalen Johnson. Like, yes, he's gonna be healthy, but you never know. We never know. I never know. Like, he could injure his shoulder again. Knock on wood, that doesn't happen. But like ACL tears happen. Knock on wood, that doesn't affect the Hawks. But I mean, injuries are part of the game, so you got to take in consideration. That's what I'm saying. Like, realistically, barring the injuries, I say that we could finish as a top 3 seed, considering the other injuries in the Eastern Conference, like Giannis, like Giannis, like Damian Lillard, even though he's not on the team, like Jason Tatum, like Tyrese Halliburton. I mean,
I gotta say, another thing that we have to take into consideration, and there's anything that's going to hold the Hawks back from this season, is we got to remember, like, it takes time for new players to kind of ease their way into a system. So, I mean, developing chemistry, it does take time. I mean, I know that's kind of like what you say, that's what preseason's for, but I think it could cause some inconsistencies early in the year. So I think 50 wins is like the ideal finish line for the Hawks, but it wouldn't surprise me if we do get off to a slower start than what people think. So I think that is something we do have to keep in mind.
I think you're right. I don't want it to turn into what happened last year in terms of but inconsistent rosters, and that came with injuries. Because I mean, remember how the Hawks played at the start of last year? Making it to the Final Four, the end season tournament. We were 20-20, 40 games in the season, which is already a lot better than people thought. But then Jalen Johnson went down. We had to learn how to play without Jalen Johnson. And then Clint Capella went down. We had to learn how to play without Clint Capella. And we never got the chemistry right because we were transitioning through different rosters. I know with Kristaps Porzingis and his injury history, there are concerns about is he going to be able to stay healthy? And we really need him to because I don't want to have to mesh with Kristaps Porzingis, get that chemistry going, and then he gets injured. We have to transition through another injury, which would throw off the complete chemistry. So I think you're right. It might take some time, but if everyone can stay healthy and we get that chemistry rolling, there's no reason to think this Hawks won't be a dangerous team in the league.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, John. Also, like the Trae Young news, Trae Young has still not signed signed an extension, but he wasn't today's summer league game though, so that's a good sign at least.
I understand him for waiting. I don't really expect him to do that right off the bat because his future with Atlanta is still a little uncertain. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's gonna wait till like halfway through the season to really make his decision. Because I think how we look halfway in the season is really going to determine if Trae Young's going to stay in Atlanta Hawk or not.
I agree. I think it's going to be closer to the trade deadline when we really see those wheels start to turn.
And if you saw me laughing earlier, I looked up on ChatGPT like an extremely funny joke to say because I was going to say a joke at the end of the podcast. But the jokes were like stupid. I told ChatGPT its joke wasn't funny enough. And this is literally what it said to me. I'm not even joking. It said, "You want more? Oh, I can go full gremlin mode. Want even more? I'll keep gremlin firing till we both get banned from the HOA."
What in the world?
And literally all I said was your jokes aren't. All I said was your joke. Should I hit yes and see what kind of joke it spits out?
Yeah. This is a great way to wrap up the episode.
Yeah. Let's get some jokes in here.
Yes, let's descend further. Here's Gremlin Comedy Volume 2, Unmedicated Edition. What is happening?
Unmedicated? We're reaching into like different bags here. What's going on?
You still with me? Say the word and I'll unleash Volume 3, Feral Energy with Wi-Fi. What? Okay, this is
What are the jokes?
It gave me 5 jokes. All right, I want you to have a straight. This is how we're going to end the episode. I want you and John to have a straight face. And I'm going to read these 5 jokes. But no, you can't cover your mouth. You cannot cover your mouth. I need to see. No, John, you cannot cover your mouth.
I know. I'm trying to have a straight face. Okay.
Okay, you ready? Here we go.
Dude, I'm not ready for this, bro.
I'm not ready for it either.
I'm ready, bro.
Okay.
I'm locked in. Hold on.
I can already tell you right now, this first joke is stupid. I tried manifesting a better life, but all I got was a possum roommate named Craig. He pays rent and bottle caps and screams at Judge Judy reruns. We're not friends. What does that even mean?
See, this is why we don't trust AI.
That's not a joke. That's just.
That's why we don't trust AI.
My dentist asked if I'd been flossing. I said emotionally, she left the room. Now I get my cleanings at a Petco parking lot from a raccoon named Janice. She hums Shakira while working. What?
I don't get it. This is why we don't trust AI.
What in the world?
I once saw a goose at 3 a.m. behind a Waffle House and nodded at me. I nodded back. We exchanged secrets. I haven't blinked since. I challenged Siri to a fight. She called my mom. Now I'm grounded and she changed all my alarms to goat noises.
What?
If life gives you lemons, bite them whole, stare directly into the sun, become the chaos you wish to avoid, befriend a crow, name him Gregory Thunderwings, and teach him to steal debit cards. What?
We got so stupid. It's funny.
Look, you know what, Chase? That's what I want you to tell ChatGPT. Tell ChatGPT that we are in the middle of a Hawks podcast. The jokes still aren't funny, and we need a good paragraph to end the episode. And I want you to read that paragraph. Like, make it something like a Morgan Freeman would say.
All right. I said, we are in the middle of Atlanta Hawks podcast. Your jokes still aren't funny. I need you to write a
paragraph,
I can read to the audience to end the episode.
and it needs to be something that Morgan Freeman would say. I want you to include that in the sentence so
It
ChatGPT knows what's up.
to be something Morgan Freeman would say. All right, now here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna read this, and like right when I'm done, you're just gonna end the episode.
Yeah,
so this is the last thing the audience hears.
Yeah, so I want you. Yeah, this is gonna be it. This is gonna be like the most cinematic way we've ever wrapped up an episode.
Okay.
Here we go, guys. And so, as the sun sets on another episode of Hawks Flight, that's not even our podcast name. I didn't even tell us what our podcast was called. We find ourselves in a familiar a place, hopeful, hungry, and maybe a little heartbroken. This team, this city, it's more than just basketball. It's resilience. It's fight. It's Trey shaking defenders into dust. It's the roar of the crowd at State Farm Arena when the impossible becomes real. The road ahead, it won't be easy, but that's the beauty of flight. You've got to rise against the wind. Until next time, keep your head high, your wings strong, and remember, the Hawks never stop soaring.